This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 852, Zook Down Under. Enjoy. This one needs to be talked about and wasn't talked about, but the font changed again this week.
People have been surprisingly up in arms about the font change, and I'm just wondering what's going on.
So the initial font change happened because they said they were taking the chat font to a true type font, meaning it's easier to scale up and down for various device sizes and various point sizes. Whereas their old font was based off of bitmap-based glyphs, which made it incredibly hard to scale. So the font that we're supposed to have is a font called Noto Sans, which is an open Google font. I run mine at 12 point, and I did a comparison. I typed out a line of text in Photoshop at 12 point Noto Sans. I had a screenshot of what it used to look like in game prior to the patch this week, and then I typed out that exact same line again this week in game. And if you compare what we have this week in game to something from Photoshop, they're a lot similar now compared to what we had prior to this week's update. So what seemingly happened before this week's update is that what we were getting was not as advertised for that actual font size. It was supposed to be 12 point, but it was probably somewhere closer to 11 because it was compressed both vertically and horizontally. But after this week's update, it's a font that is much more representative of what you'd expect it to look like if you were to actually write out that font in, say, somewhere like Photoshop or Word. So I don't know why people were upset about this one. Honestly, for me, this week, it made it feel more readable. Tanis, how did you feel about the font this week?
It's funny you should ask because I don't look at the chat box a lot, but I've actually been looking at it now since we started, and I thought, that seems like it's easier to read.
Yeah.
So that was
they also made it
my
pop a bit more in
feeling.
terms of how it was outlined, I find, this week.
Yeah, well, what I'm noticing is for me, because I have it blown up and I've kind of got it just the way that I have the box shaped.
Yeah,
it seems to be working out where I'm getting two lines per, chat message, or what have you, and it's spaced out just right.
Yeah, and I actually pulled up the measuring stick in Photoshop and measured the old font compared to the new font, and the old one was a good pixel and a half shorter than the new one is, if you actually go out and measure it. So that combined with the spacing just makes it a whole lot more readable because it's also spaced differently and it's actually a little bit bigger as well in terms of what you're expecting. Though people still feel as though that 10 might be too small, 12 too big, and people have been requesting that there's options for in between, which I guess there'd be no reason they couldn't do that now, given that it's a true type font. I guess it's just something maybe with the font selection UI. But I just wanted to bring that up because I heard a lot of complaining about it this week. What about you, Chaos? Did you hear complaining, or what was your general sense of what people were telling you or what you thought of the font?
The key point there is just confusion, maybe a little bit of curmudgeon-ness.
Yeah.
People do like consistency, especially when it comes to UI. And from my experience, I know when the UI changes, even if it is for the better, how many times has your phone updated? And even if it's better, you go, oh my God, I can't find anything now. It's just a part of that need for consistency in one's environment. So, and hopefully now that it has been changed to be a little bit more readable, it'll stay that way and people will continue to find some way to complain about something on Reddit. But
I'm wondering if this had an impact on Alt1.
That's a good question, actually. So I don't know off the top of my head, but
Tanis, do you still have that thing set up where it reads to you?
No, I haven't used it for a while.
All right, fair enough. But if we're on this path now, true type fonts, I'll say do more. Do the inventory and skills window next, or maybe even the bank in terms of fonts. I would love that personally. Those would be my choices for UI to have the fonts done on them next. So you can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe or leave a comment.